Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chantel, and today I'm going to be discussing the final film of my Spooktober 2025 review series. This is a film that is 100 years old this year and is one of my favorite silent films, starring my favorite silent film actor, and that is 1925's The Phantom of the Opera, directed by Rupert Julian and starring Lon Chaney. I was lucky enough to catch a screening of this with live musical accompaniment by the Anvil Orchestra. I will put the Anvil Orchestra's information in the description below. They are a wonderful little group of guys that they compose and perform music for silent films, and they do this all over the place. They travel around, they go to film festivals, they do repertory screenings, they do put out Blu-rays of the films with their musical accompaniment on it. But of course, the best way to experience this is to go to a screening where they're actually performing. It's a lot of fun. It's so much fun. If you are at all into movies, if you're at all into film history, there's nothing better than going to see a good old silent movie with some great live music. So, yeah, if you're not familiar, I have to assume everyone's familiar with the basic story of Phantom of the Opera. It's pretty famous. It's a classic love triangle kind of story about the disfigured phantom who falls in love with a young ingenue opera singer and tricks her into thinking he's some sort of angel or spirit that's guiding her. He teaches her music, kidnaps her to his lair in his dungeon. She's in love with a young nobleman, and the young nobleman is trying to save her, and it's fun. It's a little bit of it's a sort of a 19th century potboiler, French. Gaston Leroux is the author of the novel, and it's had a number of adaptations in film, and of course, famously, Andrew Lloyd Webber has a famous musical that is very iconic. And so this is the first film adaptation, and it's really the one that has kind of set the bar for all subsequent adaptations of this book, especially in terms of sort of the overall look of it, and as well as in Lon Chaney's performance. If you're not familiar, Lon Chaney was a very famous silent film star who's known colloquially as the Man of 1,000 Faces because he was also a makeup artist. He did his own makeup, and he famously made himself into many very grotesque characters over the years, most famously the Phantom, and also he played Quasimodo in one of the earliest film adaptations of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, also in the mid to late 1920s, around the same time. I think it might have been before The Phantom of the Opera, so it might have been like 1923 or 24 that one was filmed. But Lon Chaney was a fantastic silent film actor. Unfortunately, he passed away very young from throat cancer in about 1930, so he was never able to transition into talkies. But he was wonderful at pantomime. He was wonderful at portraying very tortured characters, right? That was sort of what he was known for, were these characters who were somehow grotesque and somehow monstrous, but were also very misunderstood, and, they were societal rejects and often had unrequited love for the beautiful young woman, and usually ended in a tragic death, right? That was sort of the type that Lon Chaney was known for. And of course, the Phantom is like the example of that type. And he's great in it. His makeup for this film was famously very frightening to audiences in 1925. And honestly, even today, it's still like kind of shocking when the big reveal happens. It is very sort of unsettling, frightening kind of look to have. And again, he's very good at the body language. He's very good at switching very quickly between sadness and rage, right? So he's very good at being very scary when he's angry, and also being very pitiable when he's down, uh, when he's feeling rejected and depressed. And so it's a very fun movie. It's a very atmospheric movie. Of course, there's lots of shadow play. In the 1920s, German Expressionism had a lot of influence on American film in the 1920s and 30s. So there's a lot going on here. The other performances are also quite fun to watch. But yeah, really the standout of this film is Lon Chaney. And I think it's very much worth a watch if you can find one that has a good musical score to it. It also has a beautiful color sequence in the middle. The masquerade sequence, or the masked ball sequence in the middle of the film, is an early color sequence in American film that has been really beautifully restored, and it's quite nice. And his the Phantom's Red Death costume is very it's brilliant. It stands out so starkly against everything around it that it's really gorgeous to watch, this early cinematography. Yeah, it's a great little film. It's every silent film that we still have today, in my opinion, is a miracle, because it's very difficult to keep those old films in a watchable condition. And the job of preserving them is, I think, one of the great historical archival projects of our time, because they're so difficult to maintain in a state that is still watchable. And so a single silent film that we have today is a miracle that it exists at all, because yeah, we've lost most of them. Let's put it that way. The vast majority of films made before like 1929 are just gone. They've been destroyed. They were overwritten. They burned up in fire. Celluloid is famously extremely flammable, so we lost a lot of movies in fires. Many of Lon Chaney's best movies and best performances are lost forever. We only have maybe production stills from some of them. That's the only reason we know some of them even existed. But Phantom of the Opera is definitely a great performance of his, and it's a fun one to watch. It's one of those movies that you sit down on a Friday night with a glass of wine and just watch it and have a good time. And as I said, I will put the information for the Anvil Orchestra in the description below, because if you can catch one of their performances in particular, they're also really great. They do, this is what they do, is they make music for silent films, and they assist, in my opinion, in the preservation of silent films in this country. They're big influence on that, and they do good work, and they have very fun music. So yeah, that's what I got. That is my Spooktober 2025 lineup. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed these little videos that I've made. If you would like to see me do this again next year in October, or if you'd like me to do maybe some other sort of themed film review type series, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you've seen this version of the Phantom of the Opera, let me know how you liked it. And yeah, if you like what you see here, please like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!